It's just Bruce, he don't bite. Hello.
Okay guys, once again, welcome back to my channel. This is going to be part 3 of my reusable molding compound tips and tricks. I did a whole project with them. I was in part 1 and 2. We did the, showed you how to mold, a couple secrets for how to get a better mold out of it by putting it in a refrigerator, and then we cast it. We poured the resin into the molds. I showed you that you can heat up the mold instead of using a pressure pot, which I did not use a pressure pot. We're going to see the results of that today, though. I have them sitting right here in front of me. So here's the unveiling, so to speak, the demolding, and then we're going to show you the results, and that's the end of this series. So hopefully you learned something. Leave me a like down there if you don't mind. Appreciate it. Helps the channel, and comments are always welcome. I'd like to hear if you guys do it differently. Like I said, I do it the cheapest way possible, and I get decent results. A lot of practice. Just let me know what you think. All right, on with the demolding. I don't know. Let's see what we got. Okay, so it's been about 24 hours, the next day, of course. And I told you this particular brand of clear coat takes a little longer to dry. It's not what I normally use. I can feel on the edge here, if you can see on the camera, it's still a little pliable. It's not quite cured. But I think we're okay to go ahead and demold these. This one here, I've noticed, I lost a lot of the resin. It came out on the cardboard here, and there's a hole here, so it looks like it's not a good mold. It just flat out isn't a good mold, and I can see that. I don't know if it's showing up on the camera or not, but if you look right here is one of the feet. It's an action figure. One of the feet, there's no resin there at all. I can look in, I can see the resin like up around where the knee zone is. So what I'm actually going to do is, I'm leaving it in the video because I leave my mistakes in there. Not really a mistake. This is something we can fix. I'm going to whip up another batch of the clear resin, and next time I pour something, I'm going to fill this the rest of the way up, and we should be fine. So we're just going to set this guy aside, and I usually use a silicone mat. I used an old piece of cardboard last night. As you can see, the molds are sticking to it. But if you put it on silicone, like my thing here, well, you can't see it. Like this is a silicone mat. It won't stick at all. But I don't like cleaning up that mess, so I put it on cardboard. You can do whatever you want. I'm just letting you know what happened. So let's start, and we'll demold. This one sticking too. There. Let's demold the part we made. And probably skip through me cutting the tape off. And here we go. I'm just gonna, like I said, I don't save these molds. Sometimes you can reuse your mold a couple times. I really try to make a fresh mold every time I make a piece. It just ensures that my piece is going to come out good. Now, I don't know where I put the piece I'm actually making, but as I said, it's got its shape, but as you can see, it is pliable. That's okay. I'm going to set it on the edge of my table like this and let it cure the rest of the way for, I'll probably mess with it tomorrow. I'm just going to set it over here. But it's going to come out just fine. And that was the part to they're called chin guns, and they go to an AT-AT, a vintage AT-AT for Star Wars people. And this is the same thing here. I'm just going to open it real quick. And we're just going to split it open like the other one. There's my piece. Like I said, I'm not worried about the molding compound. I'm just going to put it back in the microwave, reheat it later. And yeah, a little flashing on the edges, but like I said, these come out nice. Still flimsy. Set it aside. It can cure the rest of the way there on the table. These I'll put back in the bin, remelt them. And this guy. I don't think I'm going to be using this cardboard again. Okay, I'm opening this one, and as you can see, I just literally tore my mold. That's okay. We can microwave it and reuse it, like I like to say. And this figure coming out, I've always had, this has been a difficult figure to pour in the past anyway. Let me show you why. Like I said, here's the molding. It's tore coming apart. If this happened in a regular silicone mold like this one here, you'd be angry because it costs about like 25 bucks each to make these, and you only get one shot. But this mold, it was a good mold. I'm happy with the way the figure came out. I'll clean this up after it cures. Like I said with the other stuff, this resin's still not 100% cured. I'm probably not going to use that brand again. I'm going to stick with my aluminite. I'll tell you what though, it is nice and clear. I don't know if you can see that. It come out like super clear. There's hardly any bubbles in it. This is that technique I showed you with the hot water. I did not put this in my pressure pot this time. I wanted to see if this new mold, if this new resin was going to be good. And honestly, it's pretty good. I don't see many bubbles in there at all. We'll find out whenever I clean it up. You'll see that later here in the video. Once again, I'm just going to set it gently on the edge here so it can finish curing. I want to talk about this guy now, because this is something I discovered that, I don't know, it might help you. Let me move this crap out of the way. Okay, now I know I've shown this X-Wing on here numerous times. I wanted to show you the part that we're trying to make, and that would be this canopy right here that goes over the pilot. That's one I've made before, and it's a good replacement part for it. They're going to be on my eBay store here real soon once I get a number of them made up. But with that said, what I want to show you today is about a two-part mold. This is, or was, a two-part mold. This is the lid that normally goes on there. What I used to do when I made this into a two-part mold was I put the mold together like this. There's my vent holes. Let me use my pointer. There, I got 3 vent holes on this side and a pouring hole right there. And of course, when it normally would cure, pour it in there, go like this, done. And I was doing that, and because of the design of the shape, the top, there is no, this part here is the very top. The top is nice and smooth as glass. So I got to thinking, I'm like, well, and then when I poured it, the vent holes would come out right here and here, and they'd stick up. Then I'd have to sand them down with a Dremel tool and polish them. And I started thinking, oh, wait a minute, as long as I'm in an industrial environment, I don't need to use the top of the mold, because this piece here sits in, here's my piece, it sits in like this in my mold, so you can see the shape of it. It sits in like this, so I figure, well, it's flat on the top, so if it's flat on the top, why do I need to even put a mold on the top? Because there's no pattern, there's no texture on this. It's just supposed to be a nice, smooth, glass-like surface. So I decided to make the two, instead of using the 2 parts in the mold, I tried it like this, where I just poured it on the top. And we're going to find out together if that works. So let's demold it. So far, so good. And there's the mold, it's done. This is the silicone mold too that is not reusable. I can cast as many as I can until it goes away though. Okay, hey, that looks pretty decent. I will trim this and that off, and I'll trim that off. Here's the original piece. I think when I'm done cleaning this one up, it's gonna look better than it was when I left the top on the mold. I have a nice smooth finish on the top, nice and shiny. Under there, you see it's a little bit dull fresh out of the mold, but I can fix that. I think we have a nice piece here. So yeah, if you have a flat top surface, instead of molding the top, like on this mold, making it a 2-part mold, do it one-sided, and then just make your resin flush on the top. A little bit of, I expected to see a little flaring here, you know, and oh, there's a defect there. That's a shame. Well, that can work for one of my own, but probably not good enough to sell. But I guarantee by the time I put these on the eBay page, they'll be better. I don't think I could fix that either. Well, darn. Still gonna be nice though when it's done. It's gonna be functional, so I'll put that on a power of the force piece or something. But so that's what we got. Like I said, this mold here, I'm gonna make another batch of clear when I pour something else. It might take me a day or so, but it looks like, okay, here's what happened. Right here's a big puddle of resin. I must have tore the mold. I must have tore the mold and didn't see it because it's sticking out right there. Oh, it's solid now. So like I said, if I pour some clear resin in here and here, top it back off, I'm hoping that the rest of it will have molded, and probably going to have to clean a lot of flare off, but I think it'll work in the long run. So that's our demolding process. And here's our final products. We have the two action figures I said I was going to make, the chin guns. They're all done, all finished, and I managed to work a little more on the canopy. So we're going to show you how those turned out. I think they turned out really good. This was the one that I had to add some to whenever they had the holes in the bottom of the mold, and I think it came out pretty good. I'm happy with it. If you could see where it was whenever I got it, see if I can do this. The mold actually filled up to about here, and both legs, it just basically cut off about here. Oh, you know what? I couldn't even tell the difference. I grabbed the wrong one. This is the one. The mold originally filled up to here, right where my stick is, and I could tell that because the gun didn't quite finish, or the weapon. I don't think you're allowed to say the G word on YouTube. The weapon stopped there, and it had fused. So when I filled up these two, it didn't get the resin to complete the gun, because you can see these two are a little bit different, a little longer. But I chose to keep it that way because after all, it is a custom and it still looks like a blaster, so I'm good to go on that. But it did fill up the feet the rest of the way, and I was able to clean that up, and you can see how nice. I put it on black so you can hopefully see how clear it is. Hardly any bubbles at all. I'm very satisfied with those. I'm sure the customer that I making them for is going to be happy with them too. These chin guns go on the front of an AT-AT. If you don't know what an AT-AT is, it's a Star Wars toy. These goes in the very front of it, and they go pew, 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 and they light up too. But I looked at them, and this, like I said, I'm using that new brand of resin that I wasn't too sure about, so I did not use a pressure pot. I wanted to see how it came out naturally, and I'm going to show you how they light up. If it shows up on camera, that would be real cool. It kind of does. Let me kill the light real quick. Oh yeah, you can see it on that. This is a black light, by the way. It should show off any bubbles and things like that. It come out about as well as I expected. And the light back one. It come out about as well as I expected. When I do replacement parts for older toys, especially the Star Wars toys, I don't want them to come out identical to the real deal because, well, then somebody can sell that toy and claim it's original, original 1979 or whatever year that came out. And they can actually rip people off. So on my replacement parts, there's always a few subtle differences that a collector would definitely notice, but they still look good on a display because people don't want to spend a lot of money for these parts. They can't afford them, but no one likes to see a broken toy on a shelf. I'm that way. That's why I do the replacement parts anyway. Speaking of replacement parts, this is the canopy that I had done, and you saw me. I did it the 2-part mold, but I let it out. And I got it trimmed down now. I also did a little patchwork on it. I tried an experiment. I did put it back in the mold and put a little bit of clear resin in the mold to fill up the hole that was in there. And as you can see, honestly forget what side it's on. It basically covered the whole side here. I can't remember what side it was on. Well, if I can't see it, you can't see it on camera, but it made a nice side, whatever side it ended up being. I feel like it was this one. I don't remember. But anyway, that's good though, because that means it come out really good. And, once again, this is not identical to the original part for an X-Wing, but it's going to go on somebody's collector shelf, and it's going to look really, really nice. So those are my results. And so what else can I tell you about the molding compound? Put it in the refrigerator. Get it as cold as possible before you remove your master. Let it come to... well, not quite room temperature, but let it warm up a little bit before you pour your resin into it. Do not use rubber bands. I explained about the rubber bands. Use masking tape, a very light roll. Oh, there is a way. My resin or my molding compound is 2 years old, like I was saying since the last video. What I do every once in a while is I just take a regular wire strainer and I'll run the hot molding compound through that into a fresh bowl. And that takes a lot of stuff out. It's not perfect. I wish we could run it through like a coffee filter or something, but it won't work. Yes, I tried. What I might try next time is a cheesecloth. I'm thinking it might work. I haven't tried it yet. So maybe I'll try that and do a video and let you know if it works or not. But that's about the only thing you do to keep it clean. Like I said, I've been using this for 2 years. You can't see through it anymore. I just made a bunch of new molds. They're in the refrigerator right now, so I can't show you any extra. So yeah, and and when you're not using it, keep it covered in a cool, dry place. You don't have to keep it in the refrigerator. I keep it on the shelf, and I just make sure it's covered so dust particles don't get in there. It's gonna get dirty though. It's just a fact. It's gonna get dirty eventually. So that's about it. If you guys have any questions, ask down below here. Give me a like or share or subscribe. And I'm going to keep these resin videos coming. I decided to go back to them, and I'm having a lot of fun doing it. And with me running my shop and on Jenner Custom Toys at eBay, with me running that shop, I'm going to have a whole bunch of new products coming out related to this and some not. So keep checking back. You never know what you're going to see. You never know what I'm going to be selling. And that's about it. So I hope you enjoyed the series, and I'll catch you next time I have a project going on. Take it easy.
It's just Bruce, he don't bite. Hello.